One of the things that can separate you from everyone else and can take you to the height of success is having great leadership skill. Great leadership can make you more charming and more attractive and gives you the ability to understand and handle power. And in this video, we are going to talk exactly about that. We are going to look at leadership through the principle of one of the most famous, controversial, and fascinating thinkers of all time, Machiavelli. We will look at what he believed makes a powerful leader, how a leader should deal with power, how they should handle power, and the darker side of leadership that Machiavelli was willing to talk about. So let's just start. The paper you're seeing in front of you is a paper written by me on Machiavelli. The leadership skills that you can learn from Machiavelli are written here point by point, and we will understand everything from this paper. We will go through each point and we will try to understand every point one by one. And the guy that you're seeing in front of you is Machiavelli. Before learning about what he wanted to teach people or what are the leadership skill that we should learn, I think the one of the important thing is we should understand who he really was and where he came from. And it is also important for the people who do not know who he was or where he came from. So let's just learn his history first. So Machiavelli was born in Florence in 1469. He came from a reasonably educated but not wealthy family, and his education exposed him to the classical history of Rome and Greece. But perhaps more important than his childhood was the world he grew up in. Italy was not unified country at the time. It was divided into competing states with rulers constantly fighting for powers and foreign powers interfering in Italian politics. In 1498, Machiavelli entered Florentine government and began working as a diplomat. Over the following years, he traveled on diplomatic missions and directly observed rulers, armies, alliances, and political struggles. He was not studying leadership from a distance. He was watching people gain power, lose power, make alliance, and betray one another. And those experiences would eventually shape the idea about power and leadership that he became famous for. So now let's just go back to the principles on leadership that Machiavelli believed his whole life. So the first principle is, or one of the most famous principle that Machiavelli believed his whole life was, he believed that a leader should be both loved and feared, but if forced to choose, fear is safer. Let's just read the definition first. Machiavelli's famous argument is that a ruler should ideally be both loved and feared. He does not believe that love is useless. In fact, being loved can make governing easier because people willingly cooperate with someone they respect or care. The problem is that love by itself can be unreliable. Now, what does he mean by that is, he believed that a leader should be known for two things. He should be loved and feared by his people. But if he has to choose between love and fear, he should always choose fear. What he meant by that is, he believed that ideally a leader should be loved. All the people should love him and respect him. But with that, he also believed that love is unreliable. Means people can change if they can get something that can satisfy their lust for something. People can change, but if people fear you, and if people fear the consequences of betraying you, it will be very hard for people to betray you and leave you. And that's why he believes that although leaders should try to make his people love him, but he should also remember one thing, that people should fear him. And for that, a leader should always create boundaries that his people should not cross. A leader should always create consequences for betraying him. With love, a leader should also work on making people fear him, fear the consequences of betraying, fear the consequences of leaving, fear the consequences of if they did something bad, they have to pay for it. A leader should establish these things in his people. And the second uh, skill that you can learn from it, from Machiavelli, and the thing that he believed was, a leader cannot always afford to be morally good. Now, what he meant by that, he was a firm believer of one thing, that there is no need to be always be good morally. You know, so many leaders and so many people try to do moral things all of the times, and you know, it's a good thing, there's nothing bad in that, but he believed that a leader should always think about his state and his country, or the things that he owned first, and then all the other things. Now, how can we understand that through a modern world uh, philosophy? Now, imagine that you are a leader of a particular company. Now, in in that company, you find someone who is doing some really bad work. Means he's not uh, working up to the mark. He's not providing the best results. Even if you have given him countless chances, that person is not improving, and that person is taking you lightly. Now you know that uh, you have tried many things to make that person understand that what you are doing is wrong and you should improve yourself, but no matter how hard you try, that person is not improving. So now you have came to a situation where you have to fire that person, and as you're about to fire that person comes to you with some really emotional feeling and says that, oh, I have a family and I have to take care of my family, and all of these things. Now, to be morally good, you should not fire that person, because that person has family and that person has to take care of that family. But in this exact thing, Machiavelli believed in a very different way. Yeah, that person has family, and yes, firing him will not be a morally good thing to do, but he's not working, he's not performing, and it is not good for the company. So the best thing would be to fire him and find a new person, the person that is capable to do that task, and give that task to that person. But if you will blind yourself to moral things, it will become very hard for you to fire that person, because before firing him, you will always think about that person's family and all kind of things. But Machiavelli believed that a leader should not always be morally good or should always behave like a moral god or some kind of thing. He believed that a leader should always do what is right. If firing that person is required because he's harming the company, then it should be done. He believed that leaders should always think in a bigger picture because there's not only one person that is associated with that company. If that person takes the company down, then not only that person is going down, that company is going down, you are going down, and you are also taking hundreds of people with you down. So if you have to fire one person which is morally bad, but with that you can save a larger company, with that you can save the life of many people by saving that company, then taking this morally bad thing is good, is okay. He believed in that thing so much that leaders should always do what is right, not what is morally right, or not what is society is making you think that is right. Doing the right thing is the only thing that matters. Moral is good. A leader should be morally good. He believed that as one of the most important thing about leader is having a good image, means having a morally good image is good. A leader should behave morally. He should, most of the time he should try, the leader should try to do moral things, but there should be a limit for that. If something is harming his country, if something is harming your company, then the only moral thing to do is save the company. And for that, if you have to fire someone, for that, if you have to do anything which is not morally good for the society, but that is required to save that company, then doing it is not wrong. And now, the most important point for any leader and people who are in leadership position should always implement that in their life. A leader must understand human nature. Let's just read the definition first. A large part of Machiavelli's thinking comes from his observations about how people behave. He does not build his potential theory around the assumptions that people will always be loyal, generous, or honest. Instead, he looks at how people's behavior changes according to their interests and circumstances. People may support a leader because the leader benefits them. They may promise loyalty because loyalty is useful at that moment. But if situation changes, their behavior may change too. Someone who has nothing to gain from remaining loyal may eventually decide that switching side is better for them. This is why Machiavelli pays attention to things such as fear, self-interest, rewards, reputation, and consequences. If a ruler understands what people actually want and what they are afraid of losing, the ruler has a better chance of predicting their behavior. Now, what does he meant by that? You know, Machiavelli believed that most of the people are very selfish and evil at the very core. Means most of the people, most of the time, want something that is good for them. They want to justify their lust of money or any kind of thing that is good for them. So they can change. They can change anytime. So he believed that with having the skill to do the work required to run something, a nation, a family, or a company, leaders should also have the skill to understand human nature. A leader should have all the qualities to understand fear, self interest, rewards, and the motivations that people have in their life. If a leader do not have the skill to understand human nature, how people behave in certain kind of conditions, what can make people change you, what can make people betray you, and what are the things that You need to control the mind of the people. What are the things that you need to implement that makes people from betraying you, and like really understanding the core of human nature, like how human perceive reality, deceptions, and like what is actually going inside the mind of a particular human being. If a leader does not have the understanding of human nature, it would be very hard for the leader to hold and control power. It would be very hard because if you will not understand people, people will betray you. They will always stab you from the back, and they will say bad thing about you, and you will have no control on people. If you do not have the control on people's mind, then there's a very less chance that you will have the power over them. If you want to handle power, and if you want to have the power in your hand all the time, if you want to be a leader, then you should understand how a human nature works. Understanding the human nature, what exactly is going inside the mind of a human, is very important, because that's the only way you can control them and you can really hold the power in your hand. And the next thing, or you can say that a very, very, very important thing, do not depend on other people's power. Let's just read the definition first. Machiavelli strongly criticizes rulers who depends on power that belongs to someone else. Imagine a ruler who stays in power because a powerful ally provides the soldiers protecting him. As long as the ally remains supportive, everything may look fine, but the ruler does not actually control the power. The ally can withdraw it, demand something in return, or change sides. Machiavelli therefore prefers to a ruler should have his own forces and his own reliable sources of strength. The larger principle is that dependence creates vulnerability. If something is essential to your position but another person controls it, your position can change when that person's interests change. Now, what he meant by that? You know, he believed that a leader should not be dependent on other people for every little things in his life. Now, if we take this and put this into a modern world perspective and try to understand that through that lens, imagine you have a company and you are dependent on other people or other employees for every little thing in your company. That's a very bad position to be. It's common that you know, today people hire so many employees for different things in their company because everyone is not capable of doing everything. A leader is not a leader because he knows everything. A leader is a leader because he knows how to lead people. But even after that, a leader should not be dependent for everything on other people. Even though you do not have the extreme level of understanding of what is exactly going on in that one field of work, but you should have the basic understanding of everything that is going in your company. The reason for that is you know that you cannot be fooled, because if you do not know anything about a certain thing, it becomes so easy for other people to fool you because you know nothing. But even though you have a basic understanding of certain things, it becomes very, very hard for a people, a normal employee, to fool you, because you at least know the basic, and you know that, yeah, I do not understand the extreme level of this thing, but I know the basic certain enough that no one can fool me. And that is why it is very important for a leader to be do not dependent on other people for everything. He should know the basic of everything that is running in his company. Because one of the worst thing that to experience as a leader is being fooled, being fooled by your own people. It will not just destroy the company, but it will destroy yourself also. It would become very hard for you to trust someone again, and it would become very hard for you to run the company, learn the basic, and don't be dependent on other people. Have the capabilities, skills, and enough knowledge to run things in a way that you want. The next point is adaptability is essential. Let's just read the definition first. Machiavelli believes that circumstances change, and the ruler who refuses to change with them can eventually fail. A strategy can work extremely well under one set of conditions, then becomes ineffective when those conditions disappears. Very important. Adaptability is very essential for a leader. A leader should always be very curious about adaptability. You know, certain kind of things work for certain time, and after some time they become ineffective. And a leader who does not have understanding of adaptability, that leader fails to change. That leader fails to adapt the change that is happening all around him. And the leader who fails to change, a leader who fails to understand, fails. You can learn that in various examples in real life and in modern world. BlackBerry, the leaders failed the company because they never accepted the change. The whole world was moving towards touch phones, but they sticked to keypads. They thought that it would run and it is the best thing they are doing. They never changed the work ethics that were working previously but are now ineffective. And that's why they failed. And this is why adaptability is very important in a leader's life. A leader should know when to change strategy. A leader should know when to adopt new skills. A leader should know when to change certain people. A leader should know when to remove some things, when to add some things. A leader should have the whole understanding of the world, how the world is changing, what is the right time to change certain things, what is the right time to implement certain things. A leader should have the whole understanding of the world. A leader should be very flexible. If you can understand that in one word, and if I can share that in one word, it would be flexibility. A leader should be flexible for the change. A leader should be very, very, very flexible about all the things that is happening around him. Adaptability is very important for every leader. If you are in a leadership position and you think that what you are doing is always right, and you are doing it for 10 years, and now something has changed the entire market and something has disrupted the entire thing, and you are thinking that that will not come for you, and you have the best strategies in the world, and it would not disturb you, then you are very wrong. Very wrong. I think that disturb the whole market, the whole situation, the whole environment will eventually disturb you. It may not come for you too early, it may come for you very late, but it would come for you. There's nothing in this world can stop the change. And the next one is, do not become dependent on flatterers. Now, let's read the definition first. Machiavelli warns that powerful people can easily become surrounded by people who tell them what they want to hear. These people are flatterers. They may praise every decision, avoid criticism, and agree with the ruler because they want favor, protection, or access. The danger is that the ruler gradually loses contact with reality. Every advisor says that an idea is brilliant even when it is obviously failing. The ruler has no reliable way of discovering the problem until the consequences become serious. Machiavelli therefore believes a ruler needs people who are willing to tell the truth. Now, what he meant by this? You know, when you are in a powerful position, when you reach at the top, one of the things that happens with leaders is sometimes they get surrounded by people who only praise them, people who only say good thing about you. Even if you made bad decisions, they will not criticize you, they will not say bad thing about you, even though they are saying bad thing behind your back, but they will never criticize you on your face. They will never say bad thing about you on your face. They will always act like a loyal, respectful, kind of person that just loves you. And Machiavelli believes that if a leader becomes dependent on this kind of people, or if a leader gets surrounded by this kind of people and he never gets out of this surrounding, then that leader eventually falls down and he loses all of his power, because after some time he, the leader, gradually loses the contact with reality. When you are surrounded by these people who are just always praising you, you always forget that you can make mistake. You try to believe that you are this avatar of a god, and you are the best person in the world, and you just cannot make mistake. And you know what happens after that? Everything that you are running, a company, a nation, or anything, it just goes down to hell, because then you become a kind of person that has a egoistic belief on his leadership skill. He thinks that he knows everything. But Machiavelli believes that a leader should not be like that. A leader should not surround himself with this kind of people. A leader should surround himself with people who challenge him, who say good thing when the leader is making a good decision, and they should criticize him or put their opinion against a decision that is not good. A leader should surround people who are not biased, who are not hungry for something, hungry for the power or favor from the leader. A leader should be with people who are real, because only those type of people will come and say to your face that, see, you did a very good thing, but what you're doing is very wrong, and we should not do that, we should not do this, and we should try this thing because it worked last time, or maybe you should change this small thing in that. Like the people who really have the same kind of feelings that a leader or the owner of a company or nation has for his company, his nation. A leader should surround this type of people around him, because this is the only way that a leader would be connected to the reality of what is actually going outside the world, and what is the right thing to do. Because the truth is, the humans make mistake. Even though a leader is leader because he has capabilities and strategies and abilities of a special person, because it requires a special kind of abilities to own power, handle power. So even if a leader have all of these things, But the psychic core of all of this is a leader is also a human, and humans make mistake. So a leader can also make mistakes, and if a leader surrounds himself with people who only praise him, who only says good thing about them, the chances that the leader will be able to understand that what he is doing is a mistake is very less, and it will just take everything down. The leader will take the nation, the company, and himself down to the hell by doing this. So, if you are a leader listening to this, surround yourself with people who care as much as you care about your company, your nation, and who criticize you when you do bad, and who praise you when you do good, who challenge you on your thoughts, who gives their point of view, their perspective of a certain decision, of a certain important steps. Surround yourself with this type of people and avoid people who are hungry for power and hungry of something that they can get from you. So, this is all about the video. I hope I was able to make it clear and detailed. Uh, I know this video is very long because the leadership topics are very nuanced and very detailed, and requires a very detailed and nuanced approach to make things clear. I hope that you continue this leadership journey, because there are very few people that will go to the very end of this video, and if you are someone who is very end of all of this, then I think you are very serious about leadership. So I want you to continue that journey, and I congratulate you for that, because it is one of the most important thing that you can learn in your life, the most important skill that can help you in every factor of your life. So continue the journey of learning leadership. And by the way, these whole points were from one of the most famous book of Machiavelli, The Prince. It is a book about how a emperor and a king can run their nation and state. But I think at the very core, there is not very much difference between an emperor, a king, and a person who is running a company. There is not much difference, because at the very core, it is all about at the very psychic core, it is all about understanding human nature, and leadership is all about that. If you can understand human nature, you can understand like quite everything. So continue this journey, and continue the journey of learning more. And if you want to watch something on emotional intelligence, how you can build it, and what exactly emotional intelligence is, you can watch this video here. And I will see you again with a more detailed topic and in a more detailed way. Thank you.